It's Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
And welcome to another episode of The Noize. If you haven't yet, go ahead and follow us on the big three, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Noize Podcast. And of course, you can follow everything Beat Network at beatnetworkonline.com. This is a very exciting episode, Kev.
Yeah. It's big fuzz, real big.
This gentleman, we've actually been scouting for a few months, if we could say that. Definitely had a lot of conversation. Y'all know how big we are into Black-owned brands. And this gentleman is definitely one of a kind because he's the first of his kind. Black-owned cereal brand owner, Proud Puffs, making huge waves right now.
Yeah.
What was it, Forbes? Shade Room.
Oh, he hot shit right now.
You know what I'm saying? He's definitely making his moves. So, we definitely appreciate this gentleman coming in and talking to us and checking in with The Noize and bringing his story to you guys, to the ear hustlers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him in. Nic King, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing amazing, fellas. How are we feeling?
Absolutely. We're doing good. We're doing good. So we were talking earlier before getting into the show. So we hear you're snowed in your way, huh?
Yeah, man. It's getting pretty bad, but this is perfect timing to get out in front of the people because they're stuck at home and promote and let them know what I got going on.
Absolutely. So as we spoke about before, we definitely want to hear a lot about your brand. We want to hear about the things that you've been doing, what led up to it. So let's really just jump into it. Mm-hmm. What was the inspiration behind creating Proud Puffs?
I've tried to find a cooler answer, but it's kind of what it is. I happen to be a man of faith, and I've been saying for a while, when God talks to you, you got to listen.
Absolutely.
So it's not. I wish it was like I was eating cereal and I was like, man, I could make a better one. You know what I mean? Like, I was walking the cereal out and I got upset and said, "There's no representation." It was literally just. Me sleeping and just kind of imagining, someone whispers something to you, kind of wake up and that's the only thing that's on your mind. So, it's literally like 3 a.m. Over the summer, literally probably just left my corporate job, probably 2 months prior. And I woke up and I was like, cereal company. I'm sitting there and I'm just laying in my bed like, where did that come from? And I'm just kind of sitting there and, I'm a creative naturally. So I'm into like the arts, I'm into fashion, things like that. So, I got like a weird brain. So I'm just sitting there going, man, where did that come from? And, I didn't go back to bed. So like, I'm just kind of like scrolling social media and I just took a second to Google it. I was like, Black-owned cereal company, why not? And I didn't find anything. And I'm like, oh, I got something. And yeah, I could say, man, I didn't go to sleep, man. I from 3 a.m. to probably like, 9 a.m. the next morning, I'm up, I'm researching. It's not something you can Google, how to start a cereal company, but, I'm researching, I'm taking up Instagram names, buying domain names, and, fast forward, here we are.
That's dope. That's real dope. One of the things that I love about this is the box. The box is so dope to me. How'd you come up with the name inside the box? How'd you come up with the name?
Same night, right after, yes, Black-owned cereal company, Googled it. I'm like, okay. My thing for waking up, I don't know if y'all do it, but, getting juice at 3 a.m., I don't know what it is about your palate. It just kind of wakes it up,
Right.
It tastes a little better.
So, that cold bottle of water? Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm drinking some orange juice. And, I think maybe a couple of days prior to that, I seen a post where it was like, ask God bold questions, what I mean? And it was super random, but I just remember just catching my attention. So I'm sitting there and I'm kind of now correlating a couple things like random idea. And then that video kind of popped in my head and I just shot my shot. I was like, well, clearly this isn't my idea because I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like I've never had aspirations to start a cereal company. So I was like, God, this is your idea. I need a name. You know what I mean? Like that's I'm literally just, if anybody else heard me, I was probably sounding like a psycho, but I'm just talking out loud and, I'm just kind of leaning on the counter and just, still thinking about Black-owned cereal company. And maybe a couple minutes later, Proud pops in my head. And I'm like, You know what I mean? I kind of like scream a little, like, oh, I got something. And, you know, I kind of pair, I'm like Proud Flakes. That's kind of corny. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like trying to find something to kind of, you know, put it to, and then Proud Puffs, and rest is history.
It's just simple. It works.
And yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, fast forward down the line, you know, of probably the same morning, I'm like, Proud Puffs. Okay, cool. What do I want next? And I'm like, all right, cereal shape. It's a puff. I want a circle. And I'm like thinking proud. And then, you know, James Brown, say loud, I'm black and I'm proud kind of pop. Yeah. It's just, you know, it's the way a creative mind just kind of pops together. So I'm like,
right.
I Google like empowerment fist. And I'm like, I think I can do this.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm already, you know what I mean? It's already a black project, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
why not make it blacker? Put it all in their face. Absolutely.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Right next to Tony the Tiger. Just
right.
It's just recognizable. You know what I mean?
Right.
I saw in one of your interviews doing the research to get ready for the show, you called it divine inspiration. And that's one thing I think that's so amazing because where you came from with your story and the motivation behind creating Proud Puffs just kind of came to you and really just creating your own lane, you know, without resting in one. That was really the motivation behind what we do here with B Network. And, you know, that same divine inspiration, I actually started looking like, are there any black owned cereal brands? Right. And that's how we came across. We looked up that one. We had looked up black owned cognac companies. I think we came across Noir Kings and everything like that. So, you know, when we came across your brand, and the first thing I saw before we even got to the Proud Puffs part was the Black Fist, and immediately was excited. I said, yeah, I need all parts of that.
Gotta have that.
So, you know, looking into it, doing the research, and we came across your mission statement, to be the brand where nutrition and representation matters, spoke to me, you know, tons. Kind of talk to us about how you came up with that and you know, what that means to you to be, you know, that missing piece of where black owned brands haven't ventured just yet. In all these years, so it's 2021. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing with creating the mission statement is just kind of circling back and thinking just like, why? You know what I mean? Like my prior corporate job is, you know, the question always used to be, regardless of what we did, what's the why behind the why?
Right.
And, you know, just thinking about like, why am I creating this cereal? What do I want to put into it? You know, representation being like the hugest piece, like, you know, granted, you're starting to see it a lot more now, which is super amazing. But prior to this, you think about Aunt Jemima, you think about Uncle Ben, you're like, cool, that's our face. So we're going to support it. That's just naturally, you know,
right.
And then, you know, fast forward years later, people are like, wait, we didn't own that? So that's our, you know what I mean? That looks like us, but there's no ownership in it, right?
And it looked far more racist when they first got into that, man. Yeah.
You look at it now like, oh.
This is problematic.
Yeah. I don't like the way Uncle Ben's looking on his
Cheeks and teeth, brother. What's going on?
Right.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't look as inviting or as appealing as, you know, when we first saw it. Like, Aunt Jemima, this is great, and then you start to think like, Aunt Jemima doesn't really sound right. You know, it sounds real slavish.
I ain't met not one Jemima in my life.
Never. Right. I've never even heard of nobody.
When you put Aunt Jemima and you kind of add the accent, it's like, I don't know if this is really for us.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Hey, he did this movement like that was hilarious.
So to really think about it, the representation piece, you know, I was like, I wanted to, you know, title again, going back to titling my company, I was like legacy cereal. You know, I was like, I need a name. I didn't want to put, you know, Nic King something. I was like, that meant nothing. I was like, what is the reason? What's the why behind the why? Why am I starting this? I'm starting it for my legacy. I've always been about generational wealth since like my early 20s. You know, that ties in, you know, conversations about what I think my actual purpose is. So just, you know, piecing those things together, saying legacy, and then we're going, okay, you know what? I want to put my family on the box, and then tying it into saying, you know what? This is going to be a perfect piece as far as representation. Black and brown kids can actually see themselves on a cereal box and see their family, see a full Black family. And then fast forwarding a little bit, when I'm putting together nutritional value for it, I'm like, I can't just dump a sugary cereal back into my community. We're already suffering from diabetes. We're already suffering from food deserts, you know, lack of nutritional, you know, food, fruits, veggies, etc. I got to do something completely different. Plus, I'm eating healthier. I'd be a hypocrite to do, you know what I'm saying? To
right.
Have that in my product. So, that kind of pieced together our mission statement to be a brand where nutrition, being first, putting the right stuff back in your body, but also representation, matters.
I actually have two questions. You touched on it a little bit before. Do you know what your purpose is? Do you know what that is yet?
Yeah, I figured that out when I was 19 or 20. It sounds a little more cliche now, right? It wasn't like a thing, back when I was, I'm 34 now. So back when I was 19, 20, it wasn't a thing. People were so much talking about generational wealth and legacy. That wasn't that much of a thing at that time. But I knew, and my family's okay. You know what I mean? Like, my mom worked really hard. We went from the hood, and she just kept gradually moving us into better areas. Right. But I knew we weren't in a great space. You know what I mean? Like, I noticed that we all had the same pattern of like, I got my first job officially when I was 15. You know what I mean? Like,
that sounds like me. I get it.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a thing to where we all like working. And I'm like, somebody has to change this. So even around that time I had my son, and I said, I want to give, I have 18 years, and this is my quote, I had 18 years to give him a better life than I had. So when you think of 18 years in the grand scheme of things, 18 years sounds like a long time. You know what I mean? So in my head I said, I got a long time to give him a better life. He's 15 now.
Time flew by.
Right. I'm expediting the process a little bit more, because this is how the stars align. This is how, this is kind of how God works. So, I say all that to say, my purpose is to push my family into a better space. And
gotcha.
To put them into, to really work that generational wealth. I have two sisters that are in college, one sister that's about to go to college. My son, if he decides to go to college, I want to be able to pay off their student loans and say, go live, go to Paris,
that's
go
dope.
to England, go figure your life out, go hang out. Don't just jump back into a corporate job and feel like you have to work that. So that's the big piece. The second piece, I've always been a weirdo in the thoughts of thinking. I'd ask people, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Like thinking about how we were as kids going, when I get older, I want to be a fireman. We should just think of like really dope stuff to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And then we get older and we're like, all right, man, I'm give me a regular job. You know what I mean? What happened to the creativity? So, I'm more excited now that I'm in this space, and, I never thought I would be making cereal, but I feel like it kind of more aligns with my purpose, because it's saying, I'm showing people like, yo, you can do whatever you want. Start an apple line, start a cereal line, make some pasta, you know what I mean? Do whatever. You don't have to do the norm, because we have come from some of the greatest inventors.
Yes, that is a fact. That is a fact. My second question, you were up at 3 a.m., did all this. What are some of the hurdles that you have came across that you probably didn't think that you would come across when you first started out?
I kind of knew I was going to hit that. You know what I mean? It's unfortunately one of the things culturally, getting investments, you know what I mean? Growing capital is not as easy. You know what I mean? Just being a black or brown person, just not easy. A lot of these other companies, you know what I mean? I want to start, some headphones. Cool. Call Johnny. Johnny will send you, you know what I mean, a check for, $250,000. Now to kind of get you up and running. You blew through that? Call Craig. Craig works at this finance. He'll blow your number. That's just the way, you know what I mean, it works on the other end. For us, it's kind of like, hey, you know what I mean? And
what have you done before this? What should absolutely.
Do we know, do we know how to pitch a product? You know what I mean? Do we know numbers? You watch Shark Tank and they're like, so what's your valuation? And I'm like,
they do talk in a way that we don't really get yet.
Right. Culturally, so for me, I'm like, all right, let me do the research. I'm watching Shark Tank. I'm pulling as a valuation. I'm pulling those pieces. But then there's the trick. You go to have these conversations. The first thing to say is, well, I can give you, 6-figure check. You know what I mean? 7 figures. This is what I will give you. But maybe we can take the black faces off the box and make it a little friendlier, maybe like Happy Flakes. And I'm like, no.
You're absolutely right.
So I gotta then bootstrap it and get it out the mud. Now I have to go to where I'm currently now, which I feel a little better anyway, because I'm putting the product in the hands of the community. So I'm crowdfunding, right? I'm crowdfunding now. You know what I mean? The community is a part of the growth of my company. So when I make a Kelly Clarkson, I'm not just saying I made it on Kelly Clarkson. I'm saying Proud Puff family. We made it on Kelly Clarkson.
Gotcha.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would say capital is definitely one of the biggest hurdles. And I think it's probably, unfortunately, where dreams die for Black and brown.
Absolutely. Especially, and you touched on it before, us being ignorant in the sense of really not knowing how to come across, the capital to start these kind of major distribution brands, and not knowing how to ask, for these things. Like, when you talk to a lot of Black business owners, 9 times out of 10, the main thing is always like music or, fashion and stuff like that. And you say, okay, so what's your elevator pitch? And it's just kind of like, nah, we had to go, further past the actual, brand itself. And we had to really learn how to, generate that revenue, generate that capital to even start things off. And that's just the first part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, we definitely love hearing that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even just thinking about this, I just thought about it for a second. If you remember the epic Kanye and Sway interview, where he's just Sway's just telling him like, "Hey man, why don't you just do it on your own?" And he's like, "How?" You know what I mean? He's like, and it's the frustration because even a Kanye at that level, right? That was like peak Kanye. That was like, you know what I mean? He's still having problems of growing out his, his sneaker line. So it's kind of like, what do you think we're going through? He's like, I can't get these factories. They're not letting me in. You know what I mean? Like this, it's only a better explanation and, kind of puts the highlight on what, other Black and brown entrepreneurs that are not on Kanye's level have to go through.
Right.
To bring a dream to fruition.
Absolutely. One of the things you talked about was, we should take the Black family off and make it a little more safer, more inviting and happy.
What got me was
like
friendlier. I didn't understand. Right. I was like, what do you mean friendly? What do you mean?
It don't get more friendly than a Black family.
Right.
Smiling.
So everybody's happy. Everybody's looking good. Tell us, the inspiration, behind coming up with that design. And we're going to cover the whole box as well. When I tell you, I've looked at this box 30 times.
Yeah.
It's just so dope from the front to the word search in the back, the affirmation word search rather, the Black excellence, it's on the side. We'll get into all that.
What else is dope is the box is purple.
And the box is purple.
Right. And that's, if you know that purple is supposed to be like royalty.
Right.
That's just dope to me.
I'm glad y'all know that, man. I like that.
We try to come prepared, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, what was the inspiration behind the design?
Kind of going with the same theme, again, once I kind of put together the piece, Proud Puff, the design of the fist. And then I'm like, I gotta, it's Kellogg's and General Mills. I don't know what, either of those really mean, but I was like, I need a dope name too to be at the top of my box. So then once Legacy Cereal Company kind of came into mind, I was like, okay, cool. Legacy Cereal Company. All right. Why am I doing this? The why behind the why. Why am I doing this? So I'm like, your family, legacy. And I was like, easy said and done. I don't want to put a penguin. I don't want to put a panda bear on, you know what I mean? Like I don't. It's just not as cool, you know what I mean? I was like, well,
with Krabby the Crab, with the black fist.
Right. I was like, I might as well just put my family on there. This is why I'm doing it. And you know what I mean? Like it's not done, you know what I mean? So that was just the biggest thing. So I put my son, my nieces, my nephew, my sisters on the box. That character's technically supposed to be me as the father figure, but I was like, don't make it look exactly like me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want that kind of attention. And then they were like, so who are you going to use as a wife? I was like, listen, just make her beautiful. I was like, this is what I want you to, want her hair to look like. Give her these type of earrings, aesthetically, like draw out. Because I wanted to showcase a full Black family. And that was just the idea behind it.
Absolutely. So with the affirmation word search, what was the inspiration behind that? Now, of course, we already know what it is, but tell the people what made you say, I want this to be one of the first things kids see, in the morning.
Biggest part, I was a cereal fanatic, so I remember playing, games on the back of the cereal box. You know what I mean?
Jacking the box up.
Like, that was my thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. I definitely want a game on the back, or something that the kids can actually do to interact. Usually kids will be on their phone while eating their cereal. I'm like, all right, I want to switch it up, make something a little different. So I was like, all right, a word search. But I was like, all right, I want to take it to the next level. I'm in affirmations. I'm in the law of attraction. Maybe I should do an affirmation word search. And then when I started putting it together, I really thought, I'm like, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Affirmation word search. I was like, ooh, I got something. But to tie it into more, really thinking about it, it's a crazy world outside. You know what I mean? Like, that's
absolutely
the gist of it. We need to learn, especially our kids need to learn to start to speak, positively about themselves now. You know what I mean? So to say I am loved and I am protected and I am brave and I am enough, and just kind of going through that every morning. Hopefully they do it every morning when they go outside and someone's like, oh, you're black this, or you know what I mean, or you're nothing, you know what I mean, or they get that outside, they're gonna already have that built up so much inside. It's a wall at that point. They're not gonna be able to feel that, you know what I mean, because they already built up that self-esteem. So that was the probably the most important part. So our kids and any kids can really start building up self-esteem, because the internet's a terrible place. Outside's even worse. And we need to have that, that power on the inside built up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Where are you with mass production?
Mass production right now, we're actually crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, for those who don't know, is basically raising capital. We launched early and we lost our kitchen super early as well, which was like a gift and a curse. Curse because obviously it slowed down, because I would have loved for everyone to start having cereal boxes in their hands now.
Right.
I could have went, crazy at this point. But the gift is giving us the ability to really build up organic traction. People are like, I really want it. You know what I mean? That anticipation, like, I need a box. So when they finally have a box in their hand, it's, you know what I mean? That's the boom, and that's the explosion. Like, this is just, the warm up. So we're building capital right now. I chose to use FundBlackFounders.com versus a Kickstarter.com because FundBlackFounders amplifies Black voices. It's for Black founders. And I said, you know what, if anybody's going to get, a 5% fee of whatever I make, I want it to go back to Black founders. I don't want to go to, wherever else the other one goes to. Right. That makes sense. But we're raising capital right now. Yep.
See, like, even with stuff like that, there are a lot of people that are unfamiliar that with Black crowdfunding.
I was just gonna ask them, like, yo, where'd you find that company?
What I mean?
Just to answer the question, funny enough, I was on Clubhouse. I shouldn't have promoted that because we're not getting paid for that. But
cut the check, Clubhouse. See what you're doing.
Yeah, I was on a social media platform, and the founder actually reached out to me and was like, "Whoa, I love what you're doing. Are you thinking about crowdfunding?" And I was like, "Yeah." At that time, I didn't know about them. I was actually going to use the other platform. And then they were like, well, this is what we're about. We're about actually funding Black founders. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of aligned in with what I'm doing anyway. Like, I want to invest in my community. So yes, it's a smaller platform. Yes, most people don't know that they're there, but this is my opportunity, especially if I'm on a Kelly Clarkson or I'm on Forbes. I can say, fund Black founders, go check them out. You know what I mean? They are all about empowering and amplifying Black voices and Black businesses. So it just made sense.
I like that you actually touched on that. So when you started getting, when you went from just being that, that brand that when you look up Black-owned cereal brand or just Black-owned in general, when you went from the Google search to the, the Forbes article, the Shade Room, Kelly Clarkson, like, what was that, process for you personally? Like, how'd that, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, like, how fulfilling was that for you?
It's two sides to it. One, I hate being on camera. I hate it, man. It's I'm an introvert, and most people are like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, man, you got no idea. I like being in my house 24/7. This is actually pretty draining for me. Talking so much and being on camera, so that's one side for it. But I can see myself definitely growing out of it, because it's like walking in your purpose, So it's like, all right, bro, you can do some interviews. You can talk a little bit more if, culturally you're really making an impact, and, what you're going to be doing in the future really, really starts to amplify what we actually really need culturally. So Just being on, Forbes was like, it's Forbes, you know what I mean? Like, I had to tell people, like, I'm on Forbes, I'm not on the Forbes list yet. But like, the DM started coming in, like, I seen you. Like, no, you should relax. It's two different sides.
People finding you cute, they ain't never approached you before. Everybody bro and sis now, like, y'all are misunderstanding Forbes.
Forbes.com. Different ones. But outside of that, everything else, man, has been amazing. And I think the biggest thing is having the platform to be able to say, like, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, regardless of what, having Kelly Clarkson being like, first Black-owned cereal company, like, say, you know what I mean? The news channel, he had to talk about it for, a good 30 seconds. I'm like, yeah, get it all out. First Black-owned. I want to hear you say it.
It's a seal, bro. Get all that, right?
Yeah. So I was excited to do that. It's funny, though, in short, that I feel like I got way more notoriety of being on Shade Room than Forbes.
Really? Why?
That's where we at, though. That's where we at.
That's what I said, because I'm looking at it like people are like, oh, cool. And the Shade Room, I got like 50,000. You're on Shade Room. I'm like, I was just on Forbes yesterday.
Y'all really going
tomorrow?
Y'all going crazy over baller alert? What's
right.
But I gotta salute Shade Room first and foremost, because one, they didn't have to reach out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Second, I know they do generally charge for their ads and promotion. So just to reach out and say, tell me more about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I was just having a conversation with them. I didn't know they were actually going to do that until like the end. They were like, you got pictures? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. You know what I mean? So definitely salute to the Shade Room. And it was the comments, they were killing me, but our people, we don't really take anything seriously. So I didn't mind.
Right.
They were calling me Oscar Proud and everything else on this.
I don't know why that's funny.
I found out later that we literally, he had like suspenders, but one, because Proud family. Proud
Right.
One, but second, we basically had the same outfit on. So like I had, and it was like, is that Oscar Proud? And I was like, I get it. It's actually pretty funny.
Man, people always say you don't make it into the comment section go crazy on you. So hey, that's a good sign.
Or until the DMs start buzzing.
Oh yeah, and it was so it was so funny because when I reached out to Nic to hop on the show, we had already been scouting you for some time.
Yeah,
and when we saw, I think when it was the Shade Room post, and I was like, "Oh snap! I gotta catch him now."
You seen the Shade Room too?
That's what did it. Forbes, But we saw the Shade Room post. I'm like, "Oh man, we got to catch him now because he's about to, really take off." And when I reached out to Nic, and this man, he's so busy, he didn't even type back. He hit me with the voice memo. And he was like, hey, man, glad I was able to find this. The DMs are popping right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I was going to say, it's bad, man. So for anybody that watches this, if you reached out, I apologize. I'm not being brand new or bougie. Like, it literally looks bad in there. Like it's really hard to keep up. I don't have like a full, staff of 15 that's, running it's me. You know what I mean? Like marketing, PR, packing, designing. It's me. Bear with me, please.
Right. But when he does switch up and he pop out, with the black turtleneck, gold chain, and the new veneers, just know things are good at that moment.
And some suspenders.
Hey, man, who told you the veneers were coming, man? I'm getting veneers in the hairline. It's going to be there.
Right. That's how you know you got money when you get veneers.
That's the sign of success when you can get the hairline back. Let's go.
Listen, I've always had a big forehead, so you know what I mean. I'm getting a forehead reduction as soon as the check hit. No, I'm kidding, but
no, absolutely, I'm with you.
Seriously kidding, but seriously,
we've been saying that. Cut the check, man. I was bald at 19. I need the opportunity to say, edge me up right here. You know what I'm saying? Say that forever.
Yeah, I just need the high school square, man.
You feel me? So I know you said that you're currently dealing with crowdfunding, again, an amazing platform that you go through. Is there an opportunity to pre-order directly through you?
Yeah. So actually what we did was, I would say we, but whatever. What we did was we were able to tie in the pre-orders with rewards-based crowdfunding. So if you go to FundBlackFounders.com/ProudPuffs, you'll see the rewards on the side, which is basically the pre-orders. You know what I mean? It's a good little loophole.
Okay.
So you want to order a box, you can order one quantity, 2, 3, 8. I think we have, 20 or something like that. It goes to the highest, but you literally can order it directly off the site. For those that don't know, healthier cereals are a little bit more expensive. The bigger we can scale out the company, the obviously we can lower the price point a little bit, but we do include shipping because I didn't really want to hit people over the head with, shipping as well. So just want to explain it because a lot of people look at your basic, respectfully, but your basic sugary cereal and go, oh, it's $4. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because you're just getting some dyes, some yeast, and a bowl of cereal. But when you start to go into organic fruits and, healthier sweeteners and vegan friendly, the number is going to go up a little bit, but I'm definitely working my best to try to find ways to keep it low and, keep it accessible, especially, bringing it to the community as well.
I know you probably don't want to, or you can't say everything exactly what's in the cereal, but what is actually in it? Like,
it's gonna be on the side of the box anyway, so it's cool. The main two biggest parts of the ingredient, is monk fruit, which is a natural sweetener. Trying to find ways to combat generally what would be regular high contents of sugar. A natural sweetener only made the most sense. So it's, if this was just geared to adults, I could have gone all the way onto the health side. But just knowing that it's for kids as well. And, I don't know what their palate's like, as far as taste. So I was like, you know what? I need that natural sweetener to kind of combat, if I could bring the high level of sugar down and find a healthy option to where at least the monk fruit's a little bit higher than the actual sugar in there, to where they taste it and it still tastes good. Because parents can buy it, but if it's nasty and kids don't like it,
they ain't gonna touch it.
Right. You know what I mean? So I had to find that actual balance. So the real big, I guess, secret ingredient per se is the monk fruit, and then just it's chocolate. So natural, authentic cocoa definitely helps as well.
Ooh, and that means we get chocolate milk, boy.
that's the best part, man. And I use almond milk, vanilla. Everybody has different, but I say almond milk vanilla is the best thing, because once that chocolate hits, the almond milk vanilla, and now you got that fusion's something crazy.
That already sounds fire.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Kind of speaking to that, and you may mention to it before that when you get into the healthier options, you are spending a little more, but you can go get a McDouble for $1.19. You know what I mean? Right. What inspired you to go the vegan friendly route? Which I also feel like it's a duh question, but I know those questions are probably.
It seems like it may be easier to do the sweet thing.
Definitely.
Right. Definitely easiest with sugars and everything like that. But with you deciding to go the vegan friendly route, what inspired that?
I will just to touch on the first thing said. I literally just could have taken a regular, what they call white label, which is, or just regular cereal, like how you go to certain grocery stores and it'll be like Apple O's. So it's not Apple Jacks, but it's Apple O's. I literally just could have taken the white label bag of cereal, put it in our Proud Puff box, and said, "Here you guys go. That's it." You know what I mean?
Right. Because I grew up on Frosty Flakes, so I get Apple Boppers, and what I'm saying, that was lifestyle, but that was more of a broke time.
Cocoa,
but I'm right there with you. Yes, sir.
I think we've all had those types of cereal as well, man. But I was like,
Admiral Crunch.
I was looking for something else like that, but I said, you know what? I'm putting healthier stuff back in my body. I'm not fully vegan yet, but I'm definitely, been finding a healthier balance to where I'll eat actual vegan lifestyle, 4 or 5 times out of the week. You know what I mean? And then find a balance. I think everything's good in balance, right?
Absolutely.
We've seen that, for the most part, people who are, I guess, meat eaters can live a long time. You know what I mean? Not to say vegan necessarily is new, but it's newer. You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking, you know what? Give me the best of both worlds. But as far as the cereal, I just really wanted to put healthier cereal back in the community. That's just you know what I mean? Like, and just being a kid, knowing how expensive the actual dentist bill is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you know what? I want to make sure both things are, both boxes are actually checked. And I just want the whole overall gist is I just wanted a healthier cereal back in our community. I didn't want to be problematic. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just push a sugary cereal because
Absolutely.
that's not the thing. That's not what we need really at the end of the day.
No, not at all.
Now, one of the things that you spoke on, and I heard his name dropped a few times in a couple of interviews that you've done. One of the things that really pushed your inspiration to create Proud Puffs and, having representation for us and kind of, having that proud Black family going forward and taking away the whole fear thing. You were really, affected by the death of George Floyd last year. Just, looking at, that situation and really every situation, and it's almost seeming like it's becoming annual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of sit around and you wait to see who's going to be the next. You pray for the best, but you're kind of already expecting, the worst. How, with all these things going on, how has that, affected you? And, how has it affected how you go about really your day to day?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing, with as a whole, so, I'll say with the murder of Breonna Taylor and then the murder of George Floyd, man, it's culturally, I know it had to impact us because, we've seen it, we felt it,
Absolutely.
It hits home so much because what I think that most corporate companies don't realize is, we have to watch that over and over again, right? And then go to work and be normal.
Yeah, act like everything cool.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, and not really thinking like, you know what? Them folk might have PTSD for this. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, just thinking about it, especially around, because I think George Floyd's footage was way more viral than, unfortunately, Breonna Taylor's was. So just to kind of see that over and over on Instagram or any other social media platform, and just I remember just seeing that at like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm just like, wow, I don't need this. I don't want to see this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this actually doing for my mental health? So man, I could say it's definitely impacted me. One of the other sides of it is just really watching how the world, it's twofold, right? The world united, you started to see that, you know what I mean? Like those marches, it was kind of, it was people, everyone kind of came out, but on the flip side, you're watching corporate companies say, well, we got $100 million to the Black community. We're going to give $50 million to amplify Black voices and minority owners. And that was 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're now in February. Where's the updates? Where is, so far we have put money here. You know what I mean? Like we got broken promises. We got talking points for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely one of the most disappointing parts. So, really thinking to myself was, I got to put myself in a position of power because unfortunately power is money. You know what I mean? And I can't sit back and wait for the change anymore. We can't sit back and wait for the change. Just having platforms like this, you know what I mean? So where you can amplify a Black entrepreneur and Black voices is super important. Like I've gotten some, Kelly Clarkson's show was great. I'm super appreciative of it. You know what I mean? Like, but I love the Forbes article because it was written by a Black woman. You know what I mean? She got to speak for us. She understood the story. So when she's narrating that story, she's narrating it through the lens of us. No one can tell our story like we can.
Exactly.
So these type of platforms are super important, especially as we're trying to navigate because you said it's like an annual thing. We just unfortunately have to brace ourselves and go, God, please don't let there be another one, because I don't know how many of those I can actually take. So, just like everybody else, man, just unfortunately, day by day, navigating through the world, man, praying that, knowing that we know it has to be a casualty to it, and also just that we don't have to see it again.
Yeah. So I look at your story and you have a bunch of firsts. Everything is first. What's next? What's next? Like you're first in everything. So what's next?
What's next in the Proud Puff space, or
in your space in general?
Yeah,
what do you have
love to hear
on
it
the
all,
horizon?
Man, I mean, as far as the Proud Puffs is concerned, that's just our first product. We got 3 more cereal brands in the tuck. You know what I mean? So like I when I have had investor meetings, I'm like, this is just one. Like I got 3 more that's gonna come. Right. You know what I mean? Like
there's a legacy brand. That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, like, this isn't. I think that's one of the things that where people get confused and they're like, you know, he says first Black-owned cereal company, and I'm like, because I am. You know, I said a company aside. You know what I mean? Like this was registered as a company. You know, like I'm not just saying here's Proud Puffs. Like no, there's legacy cereal company, and then there's this cereal and this cereal and this cereal is coming after. So you know, in layman's terms, we are the Black Kellogg's. We are the Black General Mills. That is a completely different world. So I wanted to clarify that part because I know sometimes people get confused with being the first Black-owned cereal company. But outside of that, man, you know, we're building out the brand. You know, we have sweaters that are coming soon. You know, really making Proud Puffs like a household brand. You know, for the kids. We have coloring books and digital apps that I'm currently working on. You know, so kids can do the affirmation word search online or on their phone. Okay. The characters on the box, you know, because they're my family, I know what their personality is like. You know, I know what they do, you know, day to day. So the exciting part is, and I don't think I've said it anywhere else. So I'll say it here. You know, I got to drop.
we need air horns.
I get to, you know, really take their characters of who they are and make them come to life, you know. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm working with some great folks that I found on a social media platform since I'm not getting paid. We're really, exactly. And we're really building out the characters are on the box. So, you know, you can see my son on the front of the box and like, wow, well, my son likes to listen to music and skateboard, and how I actually build the character around that. And one of my sisters likes shopping and listening to music, and I can build the character around that. So, you know, I'm really excited to really build out the brand. You know, I don't think that's done so much. And I think that because none of us culturally has ventured into that space, you know, the format of a cereal company is really stale. I use that word. You know what I mean? So being able to infuse our culture, and we know we push the culture forward. We keep hiding that.
Yeah, we are the culture.
Right. Exactly. So, you know, like, all right, this is what we make cool. So being able to infuse that into, you know, the Proud Puff idea is going to be very exciting. And I'm excited to bring it to the world so they can see what I'm actually doing.
Got you. So, you know, kind of going back to the whole first situation, you know, 34 years old, young dude. And we even spoke on in the beginning, you know, it's 2021 and we're still saying first, but how does it feel to fall in that bracket as, you know, the first, you know, Black owned, you know, cereal company, you know?
Have you had that moment where you was like, nah, I do this?
Like legacy is officially the staple. They're the base. You know what I'm saying? The foundation of where we can go from here. How does that feel?
I'm gonna be honest. That part hasn't hit yet. Because I wake up every day kind of like pounding the pavement. You know, so people are like, yo, how do you schedule your days out? And I'm like, outside of maybe like interviews, sometimes things like the Kelly Clarkson thing was super, super random. It was a DM. You know what I mean? It's not like I reached out and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know?
This is the platform for me. Let me talk to you.
You know what I mean? So it was a DM that came in, and I literally had to shift gears and go, okay, I got to get ready for this. And I got to have these things in play because they're going to leave watching the show and go straight to my, you know what I mean, my social media.
Right.
So I had to really kind of like build that stuff out, man. And so I can honestly say I haven't had time to really sit back and reflect. I have like milestones in my head, you know, to say like, okay, this is when I've arrived, I guess, per se. And I'll share this. I have a bottle of champagne that was given to me for my birthday, maybe like 5 years ago, give or take. And I've always said that I'm going to pop that bottle of champagne when I feel like I've made it.
Gotcha.
So I'm waiting. It's still there. It's in my cabinet. You know, I'm waiting, you know, for that official moment to where I could be like, wow, like I've arrived, and I can take a moment and reflect that.
Again, Nic, we appreciate you for jumping on, brother. Definitely look forward to getting this out and allowing people to hear your story and hear about how you came up. we do want to, give out your socials and to show where people can find you and support you, and definitely help with the crowdfunding as well. But I know you also had another effort that you were looking into. Can you tell people how they can support you in that as well?
Yeah. So you guys are definitely going to hear me talk about it a lot more. I like to gloss over the cereal part and say I just sell cereal. You know what I mean? But the most important part is Operation Love, which is one of our company initiatives. So for those who know about food deserts basically areas that lack nutritional value, fruits, vegetables, etc. So I plan on going around the U.S., obviously, as long as, COVID doesn't restrict us too much, and go in certain areas and work with local farms or local grocery stores to really try to pull and those resources in, those vegetables, those fruits into the community, whether it's just like holding a farmer's market, once a week, and finding someone that can actually do that, or if there's actually a store location that will allow people to come into their location and get, fruits and vegetables at a reduced cost. So just trying to find creative ways, man, to help out the community. Obviously, those who do know about food deserts, it's mainly in urban areas. There aren't your whole food fresh markets that have, I guess they would think we don't eat fruits. I don't know what the case is, but, that's definitely one of the biggest things that I wanted to do is utilize my platform to make change, especially in our community. So feel free to shoot me an email. Don't DM me. Shoot me an email if you own a farm, someone knows someone that owns a farm, and or if you're a local grocer that is willing to support, definitely do that. Outside of that, man, like I said, I'm crowdfunding. So, anybody that wants to be a backer, pre-order, you definitely can go to ProudPuffCereal. You click the pre-order link, and my crowdfunding campaign is in there. It'll pull you to FundBlackFounders. But if you don't have the funds to do it, just understand that, a post, repost, telling your cousins, telling your friends, like just talking about it is super, super key, super important for us. So, that is also currency as well. So if you don't have it, man, just share a post, tell somebody.
Yeah.
That is just as important. But ProudPuffCereal.com to keep it short. ProudPuffCereal on all social media handles. But feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nic King. Man, we love the story. We love, everything that you do, and it's inspiring us, what I mean? Yeah. Hopefully we inspire somebody else with this episode as well. You can follow us at The Noize Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can follow everything Beat Network at beatnetworkonline.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Nic King, thank you again, sir.
I appreciate it, fellas. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we appreciate the support. And as always, Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
It's The Noize.